إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا وعلى سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه محبت لبركة والصلاة والسلام على آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. طلوع शम्स व कमर से पहले मैं तुझ पे आका दुरूद भेजूं। तुलूए शम्स व कमर से पहले मैं तुझ पे आका दुरूद भेजूं। हर एक शाम व सहर से पहले मैं तुझ पे आका दुरूद भेजूं। खुदा की भेजी किताब है तू, मेरा तो सारा निसाब है तू। खुदा की भेजी किताब है तू, मेरा तो सारा निसाब है तू। उसूल इल्म व हुनर से पहले तुझ पे आका दुरूद भेजूं। जो घर से निकलूं तो लब पे मेरे हो नाम तेरा, जो घर से निकलूं तो लब पे मेरे हो नाम तेरा। पलट के आऊं तो घर से पहले मैं तुझ पे आका दुरूद भेजूं। जे तुसी चाहो मिठा मुंह करना, जे तुसी चाहो मिठा मुंह करना, शुरू करो आका ते दुरूद पढ़ना। ज़ीनत बज़म फ़ख्र सादात ज़ेब सजादा आस्ताना आलिया बंगाली शरीफ हज़रत अल्लामा पीर सैयद साजिद हुसैन शाह साहब हमदानी नाम बरकातुल कुदसिया आप तशरीफ़ फरमा हैं। हज़रत अल्लामा जुनैद आलिम साहब, हज़रत अल्लामा मौलाना हाफिज़ रमज़ान साहब, उलमाए कराम और हमारे मेज़बान भी और इंतहाई हरदिल अज़ीज़ हज़रत अल्लामा मौलाना काशिफ साहब तशरीफ़ फरमा हैं। उलमाए कराम बैठे हैं and all the youngsters congratulate to Brother Asim on this beautiful Mahfil Milad which he has adorned his house with the zikr of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring the shower his blessings and mercy upon this house and upon us all. हाज़रीन मोहतरम, ये माह मुक़द्दस मिलाद शरीफ का महीना है और नबी करीम अलैहिस्सलातु वस्सलाम का जिक्र, हुज़ूर की याद. There are so many ways, there are so many, in whatever way you look at yourself, you look at the book of Allah, you look at Sharia, you look at Deen, the center point is always, the central reference is always Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wassalam. Because he is the center of the gravity for Iman. In fact, he is the embodiment of Iman. Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wassalam in one hadith, which is mentioned in a very famous book, Tarikh-e-Madina, written by Shaykh Muhaqqiq Abdullah Muhammad Sidaili, Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wassalam says that there are different angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who have different duties. And one of the angel whose duty is that he instills the Iman, he inspires the hearts of the people towards Iman. That is his duty. He gives the inspiration to the human beings towards the belief, towards Iman. And that angel is the resident of Madinatul Munawwarah. That angel lives in Medina Sharif. So Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wassalam is the center point, and the Iman, the angel, who inspires our hearts towards Iman, he is the resident of Medina Sharif. And how come? It reminds me one of the very famous hadiths, and all of you know that near the time of judgment, when the Dajjal will appear, and all of you know that he cannot enter Medina and Makkah, he cannot enter Hijaz. In fact, when he will come near Medina, the people who are with him, the Munafiqeen, the Zameen of Medina, the earth of Medina, there will be an earthquake in Medina. And the earth of Medina will throw those munafiqeen out of it. But Dajjal will not be able to enter Medina. And you know that when Dajjal will appear, in Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salam, the son of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's descendants, his lineage, it will go up until the day of judgment. Nabi Karim alayhi salam said that even if one day is remaining until Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will stretch that day, and that day will never end until my son Mahdi will appear. And when he will appear, he will fight those of the armies of Dajjal, but Dajjal himself will only be killed by Janabi Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And all of you know that in Damascus, in the Jami Masjid of Damashq, when Janabi Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, he would be leading the prayer of Fajr, and the people will be waiting for the Iqamah to be recited, and at that time Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will come down, and Imam Mahdi alayhi salam will ask him to lead the prayers, but he will refuse. He will say, Imamukum minkum, your Imam, your leader will be from you. At that time, Hazrat Imam Mahdi alayhi salam will be the leader of Hazrat Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. Isa alayhi salam is a Nabi, prophet. He is a higher rank than everybody else. But here, the Sharia and the leadership of Rasulullah will be established, because Imam Mahdi alayhi salam is the son of Rasulullah, and on behalf of Rasulullah he would be leading Janabi Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. So this, and then when Imam Isa alayhi salam will come in this world, Rasulullah says that the Dajjal will come around the city of Damascus. But when Isa alayhi salam will appear, he will start melting. Even Isa alayhi salam, he hasn't started chasing him, but he will start melting away, like the salt melts in the water. And but Isa alayhi salam will still chase him, and the place which is called Lud, and now the Israel's airport is at that place in Lud. This was a village. So Janabi Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will come there, and he will kill Dajjal at that place. But now this reminds that Isa alayhi salam, when he appears, the Dajjal starts melting away. You know, when Haqq comes, the Batil runs away. Yeah? So Isa alayhi salam is a follower of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So now imagine how great is the surroundings which Nabi Karim alayhi salatu was salam made them fragrant with his own blessed breath. And that these are the places of Madinatul Munawwara. So Nabi Karim alayhi salatu was salam, when he came in this world, and he is the greatest blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the point of celebration? Why do we celebrate? Let me explain. A person came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was he had put a very old clothes on. They were ripped away, and he did not comb his hair, and he was just in very, very low profile. When Nabi Karim looked at him, Rasulullah asked him, do you not have any wealth? Do you not have any money at home? He replied, Ya Rasulullah, I have all sorts of wealth. I have camels, I have sheep, I have land, I have property, I have all sorts of wealth. And then Nabi Karim said a sentence here, which is, I think, is the basis for celebrating. Nabi Karim said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given any blessing to you, then its asar, its effect should be reflected upon your body. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given any sort of neema, any sort of blessing, when He is blessed you with any sort of neema, then it must be reflected upon your body. Then when you have wealth, it must be reflected, because this is nashukri, this is being unthankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have wealth, but it is not reflected in your dress, or it is not reflected on your body, so who else is greater neema than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Yeah. So when you are being given the neema of wealth,
रिसालत
या रसूलल्लाह,
नारे हैदरी
या अली,
नारे गौसिया
या गौसिया।
When you have been given the name of wealth, then the shukr becomes wajib and it must be reflected upon your body. And how come? And what we can do about the Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam? He is the most excellent of the ni'mah, most excellent of the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when the days return, days of his milad, days of his birth are returned, then it must be reflected in our houses, in our dress, in our masajid, and it must be manifested everywhere that these are the days of the milad of Rasulullah. And the world should know that these are the days of the ni'mah, of the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam is the greatest of the blessing. And even no blessing is, you cannot grade the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No blessing is little. If you don't have that, anybody who doesn't have any blessing, ask him. No blessing is little. But Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam, of course, is the greatest of the blessing of Allah. And in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La in shakartum la azidannakum. That when you have been given a blessing, you must be thankful about it. You must pay your thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over that blessing, so that we increase you in that blessing. Hazrat Sayyidina Goshe Pak, in one of his lectures, and the only authentic book of his lectures is Futul Ghaib. What is that? Futul Ghaib. Bunyatul Talibin is not an authentic book which is associated to Sayyidina Goshe Pak radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. This has many errors. This has many extracts which are added later on. And even Sayyidina Pir Shah Sahib and other authentic scholars have declared this book as unauthentic. So we cannot associate that word to Sayyidi Goshe Pak radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And if you even analyze the sort of sayings, the sort of teachings which Sayyidina Goshe Pak has said in his lectures in Futul Ghaib, with that of Bunyatul Talibin, you will see that these two are the kalam of, these two are the speeches of a different person. Yeah? So this is to be noted, because there are many ulama nowadays, they would quote Bunyatul Talibin, and they will try to instill certain types of beliefs in our minds, saying that look, Goshe Pak believes that, and these are the teachings of the Goshe Pak. No, that has nothing to do with the teachings of the Goshe Pak. Sayyidina Goshe Pak radiyallahu anhu mainly talked about Tawheed, and mainly talked about Tasawwuf, and only authentic work is Futul Ghaib. And in Futul Ghaib, he mentions one of the hadith. Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam said, and this is mentioned by Sayyidina Goshe Pak, Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam said that an-ni'matu wahshiyatun qayyiduha bi-shukr. That ni'mat is like a wild animal. You know, animal is which has not been tamed, or which has not been trained. Yeah, it's a wild animal, and it will just run away if you do not hold it. If you do not hold it tightly, if you do not tie it with the ropes or the chains. And then Rasulullah said, ni'mat is like this. Any blessing is, the similarity of a blessing is like that of a wild animal, because it runs away. Similarly, a blessing does not stay, it runs away. So if you want to keep a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you want to tie it, then what should you do? Qayyiduha bi-shukr. Make a chain of shukr, and then your blessing will stay with you. Make a chain of shukr, then your blessing will stay with you. So but the point I'm trying to make is that Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam is the greatest of the blessing. Ne'mat-e uzma dhul-hidad. Boliye ne'mat-e uzma dhul-hidad. तो इसमें थोड़ी सी और बात सुन ले कि there are many blessings which are blessing for a certain type of creatures, but not for others. Yeah. Like we breathe in oxygen, and we die if there is no oxygen. Yeah. And if there is only carbon dioxide in a room, we would not survive. Yeah. But the plants, they survive in carbon dioxide. They breathe in carbon dioxide. So oxygen is a blessing for us, but not for the plants. Carbon dioxide is not a blessing for us, but it is for the plants. Similarly, there are certain types of medicine, for example. They can be a blessing for a certain type of disease, like cancer or diabetes or anything. But if a normal person takes those medicine, it will be a danger to his or her life. Yeah? So there is nothing in this world which can be a blessing for all. There's nothing in this world which can be a blessing for all. But only Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam's Zat, which is a blessing for every single creature of Allah. Allah says on this maqam, He says that when on the day of Mahshar, on the day of judgment, Allah says that on that day that वो जहन्नुम में गया जो उनसे मुस्तगनी हुआ, वो जहन्नुम में गया जो उनसे मुस्तगनी हुआ. The one who says I do not need Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam, मुस्तगनी का मतलब है कि who says that I do not need him, that his only place is Jahannam. Then he claims, he said, Hai Khalilullah ko Hajat Rasulullah. Who are you, the Khalil of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Janab Ibrahim alayhi salam, he would need Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that day. So just bear with me for a few more minutes. I'm trying to establish my mind. So blessing, Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam is a blessing of Allah. And every blessing needs a shukr. Every blessing needs a shukr. And the greatest blessing needs the greatest of the shukr. And all what we do, whatever we do in terms of milad, whatever we do in terms of milad is we distribute food, we put on new clothes, we arrange the mahfils, we do the lightings, whatever we do, it only denotes that this is something which needs most of the shukr. And then, let me give you an example, and this is very beautiful example from Hadith Sharif, and this also establishes our aqidah, very important, very significant point, and you must remember that. Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam, you and the little ones, you know that Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam was born in, where was he born? Makkah. Where was he born? Makkah Sharif. How long he lived there? 13 years. How long he lived in Makkah Sharif? 13 years after, 53 years altogether. 13 years after he proclaimed, he declared his prophethood. Yeah? 13 years after. So altogether 53 years he lived in Makkah Sharif. Last 10 years of his life he lived in Medina. And in Medina, during his stay in Medina, it was the economies of the Makkah and the Medina were different. The people of Makkah, they were traders, and they used to send the caravans to Syria, to Yemen, to far countries, and they would trade over there. But the people of Medina, they were farmers. Yeah? They would grow dates, they would grow other sort of fruits. So their main livelihood was farming. And when there was a fresh fruit of any season, they will pick up from their gardens the fresh fruit of any season. Listen, this is very important. What would they do? They will put that fruit in the baskets and they would bring it to the court of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and would ask him for dua of barakat. So this is the sunnah of the Sahaba. Yeah? But now what is the practice of Rasulullah? And this is not a one-off occasion. This is not a one-off narration. Hazrat Abu Huraira, who is the narrator of this hadith, he mentions this as a practice of Ahl Medina and a continuous practice of Rasulullah. So this thing did not happen just once. It happened a number of times. And what Rasulullah did over there, when the fresh fruit would come in the baskets, Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam would pick that fruit, kiss it. आपको सुना? अब ये सुननी है बात, समझनी है. Rasulullah would pick up that fruit and references. It's my responsibility to provide the reference. Yeah, very authentic. Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu would pick the fruit from the basket. He would kiss it. And then he would rub that fruit against his eyes. समझे नहीं हो बात को? जो समझे वो बोले. हजूर फल उठाते थे, फल उठाकर चूमते थे, चूमकर आंखों से लगाते थे. फल उठाते थे, फल उठाकर चूमते थे, चूमकर आंखों से लगाते थे। और यार सारी जिंदगी हवाले ढूंढते रहे। हजूर का नाम चूमकर आंखों से लगाने का हवाला क्या है, खुद हजूर ने अपने अमल से साबित कर दिया।
नारे तकबीर,
अशियतुल लम्हा।
नारे हैदरी, जश्न ईद मिलाद नबी।
And Shaykh Muhakkik in his famous work, Ashiyatul Lam'at, fi Sharh Mishkat, on the explanation of Mishkat Sharif, this hadith is mentioned in Mishkat Sharif as well, from the reference of Muslim, I think. He mentions why Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did that. He said, because the fresh fruit of a season is a very great blessing of Allah. So in order to pay his respect to that blessing, look at the words. In order to pay his respect to that blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would kiss that fruit and would rub against his eyes. So Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam here giving us a message. Oh people, if fruit is that blessing that you should kiss and rub against your eyes, then what? Let alone the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. गल समझ आई? कोई नहीं। अब हजूर बड़ी नेमत है या फल बड़ी नेमत है? फल कुछ भी नहीं, आका की जात बड़ी नेमत है। हम इतने खुशकिस्मत तो न हुए कि हजूर के दौर में होते, हजूर के हाथ चूमते या पाँव चूमते, पर इतने बदनसीब भी नहीं है और इतने बदबख्त भी नहीं है कि हजूर का नाम लिया जाए और हम चूम कर आंखों से न लगाएं। देखो ना, जिससे प्यार होता है यार उसका नाम लिया जाए। जिस्म में तब्दीली होती है कि नहीं होती? आपने तुर्कियों को देखा होगा, तुर्की ड्रामे बड़े मशहूर हैं, वो भी उनका अपना अंदाज है, हजूर का नाम लिया जाता है, यानी अपना अपना अंदाज है ना। वो they pay the respect to the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in their own way. And I prove from the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that if you want to pay your respect to the blessing of Allah, then kiss it. अब साबित हो गया ना, शहीदों के हाथ क्यों चूमते हैं, वालिदैन के हाथ क्यों चूमते हैं, हैं जी? साबित हो गया ना कि जिस blessing to pay, in order to pay you respect to the blessing of Allah, this is the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Kiss it and rub it against your eyes. तो गल समझ आए? तो नबी करीम, आप यहाँ पर आखिरी बात में खत्म करने लगे, समझो। On the day of judgment, when the scale would be fit, mizan adl, there's very heavy scale according to the size of this heaven and the earth, and our deeds, our amal will be weighed on that. अब उसका वो अंदाज मुख्तलिफ है। Here in this world, if you put something heavy on the scale, due to gravity it goes down, and if it is light it goes up. But on that scale, what would happen? That the good deeds, they will go up. Good deeds will go up, and the bad deeds, guna, they will cool down, because they have gravity. Guna has got a gravity. If you keep doing guna, if you keep walking on the wrong path, if you keep disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will create gravity in your spiritual body, and you will not be able to cross the heavens. You will live either in this world or you will go down to the hell. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all from that. गुनाह ग्रेविटी क्रिएट करता है। गुनाह करते रहोगे तो फिर नीचे जाओगे, फिर ऊपर नहीं जा सकते। नेक अमल करोगे तो वो आपको हल्का करेंगे, आपको परवाज करेंगे, वो आपको परवाज में मदद देंगे। तो मीज़ान अदल पे क्या होगा? नेक अमल ऊपर उठेंगे और बुरे अमल नीचे जाएंगे। अब वहां पे there will be 720 sahifas, 720 piles, 720 pages for every single day, for a year, for every single year of our life. Because there are 360 days in a year according to Islamic calendar, average 360 days. And 360 twice is 720. So every year will have 720 pages to record. One for the day and one for the night. And that will be put on one side And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this has been mentioned, this hadith is very authentic, been mentioned by Shaykh al-Muhakkik in his book of Aqidah, which is called Kitab al-Iman. And in the book of Aqidah, you cannot mention any hadith which is weak or da'if. And this hadith, Shaykh mentions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when our record of every deed, all the deeds, all the life will be put on one side, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask one of the ni'mah, one of the blessings which He had provided us in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask one of His ni'mah to come and take His right, take His share from our deeds. यानी जो नेमतें खुदा ने दी है ना, अल्लाह उनमें से किसी एक छोटी सी नेमत से कहेगा तू उठ और मेरे बंदे के नामा माल से अपना हक ले ले. Take your wage, take your share from the deeds of my servant. तो जब एक नेमत उठेगी, मसलन आंख है, हाथ है, गोयाई है, जिंदगी है, अल्लाह की एक नेमत उठेगी और जब हमारे नामा अमाल से अपना हक लेगी, all of our deeds will be finished, will be consumed. What does this mean? That all our deeds are not able to pay just for the one blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. कितनी बड़ी बात. यानी all our deeds, all our namazah, all our zakat, sadaqat, roze, whatever we have been doing in this life throughout is not able to pay the price of even one blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now that servant of Allah will become pale and will become worried. What will happen to me? Now the weight is going against me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to him that, oh my servant, I just wanted to show this to you. Do not fear. Go to Jannah with my mercy. मेरी रहमत से जन्नत में चले. लेकिन यहाँ एक बात समझे, बस यहाँ पे आखिरी बात समझानी है, खत्म करनी है. If all our deeds are not able to pay just for one minor blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then how could we pay for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Can we? Is there a way? Can हम आंख की कीमत, सारी जिंदगी की कमाई एक आंख की कीमत नहीं बन सकती. सारी जिंदगी की नमाजें, ज़कात, रोजे अल्लाह की एक अदना नेमत की कीमत नहीं बन सकते. तो फिर हुजूर का बदला कौन दे सकता है? कोई है तरीका? लेकिन देयर इज अ वे. ये बात समझें, देयर इज अ वे. तरीका तो कोई नहीं. यानी this we cannot comprehend this. This is not possible. But in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, look, oh believers, there is a way. If you think, if you understand that the arrival and the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the greatest blessing, then there is a way to be thankful for that blessing. And what is that way? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh my beloved, tell your servants, tell the believers that if you want to pay, if you want to say thank you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you, then there is only way that قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. That, oh people, I do not ask you for any reward because you cannot give me any reward. But if you still want to give me reward, then there is a way. Come and love my kinsmen, love my all, love my Ahl-Bayt, love Imam Hassan, love Imam Hussain, love Sayyida Fatima, love Mawla Ali Mushkil Kusha, love Imam Jafar Sadiq, love Imam Zainul Abidin, love Imam Musa Kazim, love Imam Hazrat Imam Ali Raza, Hazrat Imam Ali Naki, Imam Ali Taqi, love all the Ahl-Bayt, and this will be your thank towards me. नेमत का अजर नहीं हो सकता. हुजूर जैसी नेमत का अजर कैसे हो सकता है? फरमाया एक ही तरीका है. अजर तो नहीं है, लेकिन आप गुलामों का दिल तो करते हैं। आप माँ का अजर दे सकते हो या छोड़ो, हजूर का किसने अजर देना? माँ बाप का कोई अजर दे सकते? कैन यू पे फॉर द लव ऑफ योर फादर एंड योर मदर? कैन यू पे for the sacrifices they have made for you? You can never, if all your life you serve them, you still cannot pay for even for one moment of their love and their kindness towards you. तो हुजूर का अजर कौन दे सकता है? Who can pay the reward of Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam? बट ये तरीका बताया गया है कि गुलामों का दिल तो करता ना, गुलामी का हक अदा करे। गुलामी का हक अदा करने का एक ही तरीका है, hold the Ahle Bayt Athar as the most respectful amongst your life. This is the only way to show your love and kindness towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam की मिलाद के सदके अल्लाह पाक हम सब की परेशानियां, तकलीफें, सख्तियां दूर फरमाए। I'm open to questions if any of you want to ask any question related to the topic or in general, you can ask. This is kind of because I'm very happy to look at those later on. Mashallah, the third and fourth generation is growing up now, and we have to leave a very strong legacy for them. Ghuniyatul Talibin. Yeah, Ghuniyatul Talibin is the work which is called Ilhaqi. Ilhaqi means it has got many extracts added later on, so we cannot judge which actually belongs to Sayyidi Wasifah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu.
Subhanallah.
So, any other questions, you guys?
Can you go into detail on the army of Imam Mahdi?
Army of Imam Mahdi. When Imam Mahdi will appear, and he will, the Prophet said that there are certain signs. He will come and appear in Madinatul Munawwarah, and in Medina Sharif, Nabi Kareem said the father's name will be on my name, on my father's name, and his mother's name will be on my mother's name. So his father's name will be Abdullah, his mother's name will be Sayyida Amina. And even narrations mentions that Imam Mahdi al-Islam would be so resemblant to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that his face will be a kind of copy to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you guys study the genetics, yeah? It only lasts to a certain age, to a certain level of descendancy. But Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam's lineage and his genes will travel throughout until the day of judgment. Yeah? And the proof of that is that Imam Mahdi al-Islam would have the same shape as that of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So genes travel current. So when Imam Mahdi al-Islam will appear, he will be recognized by the awliya, by the saints of his time during tawaf. He will be doing his tawaf around the Kaaba Sharif, and the awliya will recognize him, and they will take their plot of allegiance back from them, and then he will assemble his army. And when he will assemble his army, the first people who would come to fight him, they will come from Syria. And there would be a person whose name would be Sufyani, and this is all mentioned in Ahadith. Sufyani, and he would be from the same Qabila who has been fighting with Rasulullah throughout their life, from Banu Umayyah. Yeah? That person will be from Banu Umayyah, from same tribe, from which Yazid was. Yeah? So that person will come, Sufyani will come, and he will then when they will arrive near the Medina, there is a place called Bayda, and it's still over there, the place of Bayda. And then at that place, the army of that Sufyani, it will be engulfed by the earth. They will drown in the earth, inside the earth, and only one person will survive, and he will go back and he will tell what has happened, and that will be the first sign of the truthfulness of Imam Mahdi. And in lots of details, inshallah, we'll leave it for another day. Any other questions, guys? So I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes you the true servants of Nabi Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam, his Sahaba, and his Ahle Bayt. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.